Thank you, Jonathan. And first, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome last year's semi-finalist who's had another fine season full of consistency, always around at the business end of every tournament, and he showed great form in his 2 matches so far. Ladies and gentlemen, from Rotherham, seeded number 7 for the tournament, will you welcome, please, the very talented Terry Hunt. Ladies and gentlemen, his opponent, the defending Embassy World Champion, bidding to become the first player ever to retain this title and the only player to appear in 2 World Finals. He had a nail-biting third-round victory over Carl Morris. Ladies and gentlemen, in defence of this title, the number 1 seed and the reigning Embassy World Champion from Dudley, the Professor himself, Greg Farren.
Thank you, Alan. As you just heard there, Greg Farren did have a little squeak there against Carl Morris, so it's all to play for. Terry Hunt has been on blistering form throughout this tournament, so everything's to play for right here in Manchester. Let's go now to our commentator, Jim Weish.
Well, thanks very much, Jonathan, and this is certainly one to whet the appetite of all pool players. Greg Farren, the reigning Embassy World Pool Champion, and he's up against Terry Hunt, twice a semi-finalist in this event. And it's going to be Farren breaking off in the opening frame here. It's going to be a best of 17 affair. First player to reach 9 frames will be through to the semifinals. This tournament in its 5th year, and no world champion has successfully defended the title. Farren bidding
Yellow balls in play
to become a one-off in that category.
30 seconds remaining.
So it's yellow balls in play in the opening frame. Very fortunate to be joined by the beaten finalist in this event last year, a man that knows Greg Farren's game inside out, and himself the captain of the Irish squad, Tony Holgate. And Tony, this is certainly going to be a tough one to call today.
Yes, Jim, that's right. We've got Greg Farren, the current world champion, and I know more than anybody how tough an opponent he is. And also last year's semi-finalist Terry Hunt, who had the fortune to play last year. He's a terrific potter. But I think you're going to see Greg try and dictate very early here. If you've noticed the first break shot there, Greg hasn't got a big break, but he doesn't like to smash the balls wide open, and he proved that with me in the final last year. When he's playing the big potters, he likes to keep the balls very enclosed and tight. Doesn't want to leave too much if nothing goes off the break. But I mean, you're talking about a player. The reason why this man won the world title last year is his position. The position of the cue ball for Greg Farren. He can just land on a sixpence. And that's what beat me last year, to be honest. But we're talking about one tough character to play. Nobody wants to play Greg.
30 seconds remaining.
Greg Farren, certainly the Iceman of the world pool scene here, shows little, if any, emotion at all. The only player to appear in 2 World Championship finals, having lost the first one. Went one better to win it last year.
No, he's a robot, Jim. That's the only way to describe him. You won't see any emotion from Greg Farren. Should he be 8-0 down or 8-0 in front, his face will not change.
Red balls to play.
Well, he's given Terry an early opportunity here, Jim. Well, he's left nothing there for Greg. I don't think he's entirely happy with the shot.
But safe to say, if this turns into a tactical battle, that's not going to favor Terry Hunt. They don't call this man the professor for nothing. And
No,
right now, what Terry Hunt has to try and avoid is to let Greg Farren put on a clinic.
Yeah, you'll find Greg, he'll be trying to keep Terry Hunt pinned in his seat as long as possible in every frame. Greg will want to get in, keep Terry Hunt very cold, because he knows if Terry warms up, gets his potting boots on, I mean, Terry can just reel off frame after frame after frame with blinding speed. I mean, he's a really quick player when he gets going, is Terry.
He's just developed one of the more awkwardly placed reds, ensuring to cover a path to the two open yellow balls. Right now, as we look at the table, Tony, it appears to me that the reds might be slightly favourite.
That's right, Jim. If you look at the position of the two yellows, Greg Farren not only has to come out of this snooker, I feel he's got to pot one. The reds are in such a position
30
that,
seconds remaining.
should he not pot one, I think Terry Hunt's going to have a golden opportunity to clear up. Well, Greg tried to swerve round the red then, Jim.
2 visits.
He didn't really dig deep enough onto the ball. And now he's given Terry 2 shots.
Yes, you can see just elevating the butt of the cue, but didn't judge it properly. 2 visits to the incoming Terry Hunt.
So this is exactly what Greg didn't want to do. He's letting Terry come in now, warm up and get the arm going. So once he gets potting, I'm telling you, the man just doesn't miss.
Great shot, that one, from Terry Hunt. Keeping that cue ball in the center of the table. His choice of reds. This is a very promising position at the very early stage of this quarterfinal.
And don't forget, he's got 2 visits, Jim, as well.
You'd have to be very surprised if Terry didn't go ahead and capitalize from this visit.
Yeah, he's still got a couple of options, Terry. He can really pick and choose which ball he takes, and he still has the extra visit in hand as well.
He's looking very settled, controlling the white to perfection. Hasn't had to make anything difficult as yet.
No, it's a very sweet finish this from Terry. He'll be pleased he's got in early and got warmed up a little bit. This is just the sort of start you want against a player like Greg Farren. You need to get frames on the board early.
Didn't need the second visit. It's Terry Hunt opening accounts here in this first quarter final. It's a best of 17, and he leads Greg Farren by 1 frame to 0. But this was the miss that really gave Terry Hunt the first opening.
Didn't miss it by an awful long way though, Jim. Tough pot to take on that.
Second frame, Terry Hunt's break, leading 1 frame to 0.
We've got 2 plays here, Jim. And if my memory serves me rightly, neither of these players have ever lost a quarter-final of a World Championship. So somebody's record is going to go down the pan today.
Terry Hunt breaking off in the second frame. He's 1 frame to 0 in front of defending champion Greg Farren. Interesting to note, too, as you suggested in the first frame, totally different break-off from Terry Hunt. He wants to develop everything very early and turn it into a potting battle.
Yes, when I played Terry last year, he was struggling with his break a lot, and which enabled me to come back and beat him. But I know he's been practicing a lot on his break these last couple of months leading up to the World Championships. He feels it's the most important shot of the frame, because obviously a good split and a couple of balls down off the break does give you a big advantage. But he has been working on his break, and it seems to be paying dividends.
Well, this is a very clear-cut opportunity already in the second frame. Well, that one went in the tradesman's entrance. I'm sure relieved to see it disappear.
Well, it's very important that you win your break frame in these sort of matches, and Greg lost against his break, and now Terry Hunt's came in, smashed the balls open, got a great opportunity to make it 2-0.
Well, it couldn't have finished much worse for Terry. If he'd have been able to impart a little bottom, this would have been simple.
Well, I think what he'd be trying to do is to cut the yellow into the middle bag and take the cue ball off the left-hand side rail onto the bottom rail and come back behind the black. And he's come out perfectly.
That's a beautiful finish from Terry Hunt, a breaking out, and certainly the initiative right in the corner of the man from Rotherham. Terry Hunt now leads Greg Farren by 2 frames to 0.
Fine. Terry Hunt's break, leading 2 frames to 1.
The last time Terry broke off, he went on to complete the clearance.
Open table.
He won't be so lucky this time. Nothing finding its way to a pocket. So Farren in with an open table. His choice of reds or yellows.
Well, I think he'll take the yellows, Jim. They're in a very, very strong position. They'll just bide his time. Choose his shot.
Thirty seconds remaining.
Yellow ball's in play.
Just a bit loose with his position on that one, Jim. He didn't really want to kiss into that yellow. He wanted to come round it. But he's still got a couple of options with pots. He's got maybe a plant with the yellow that's nearest to the cue ball into the yellow that's over the middle pocket. So that's his option for an easy pot.
Thirty seconds remaining.
Great recovery pot from Farren. Obviously not wanting to take the chance on the plant. Probably didn't want to knock one of the yellows safe.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Jim. There's always a risk factor when you do play the plant there, that the yellow that knocks the other one in could roll onto the rail. So, as you say, he's took no chance there. He's decided to take the long pot. He's going to pick off the yellow at the bottom of the table now, which will just leave him his 4 yellows
seconds remaining.
all in the same area of the table up towards the top. This should be easy pickings for Farren.
Yes, the awkward 2 yellows on the right-hand side right here are the 2 that present the problem for Farren. He may elect to take one of those right now, but certainly the other option, the yellow over the middle, to drop right on top of it. So this is the big shot in this frame, Tony.
Yeah, this is frame ball now, Jim. He's got himself a little bit of an angle there. Just wants to sort of just pop it down the rail into the top right-hand corner, just stunning it across for the other yellow. You can see he's playing it with a little bit of bottom and left-hand side just to hold the white, and he's played that absolutely perfect.
Never looked out, that one. Just wants to leave a nice angle now. And he's having a look at where he wants to place the white after putting this second last yellow ball to leave himself onto the black.
Thirty seconds remaining.
All about position on the black now, Jim.
Well, he's got a choice here. He can just screw back off the cushion nearest the white and bring cue ball back into this area to leave the black into that pocket. That's what he's looking at now. And obviously the other option would be to take the cue ball further across the table into this area. A little more risky though, but it would leave an easier black.
Well, he's took the first option, Jim, and I think he's selected the right shot there. You won't see Farren taking any high-risk shots.
This for 2-2. There it is. Greg Farren showing the fighting qualities of a champion. He's clawed back into this one, lost the first 2, won the next 2, and that's our score line. 2 frames apiece in this best of 17 quarterfinal. But this was the key shot in the frame. Once Greg got this one, there were no more hurdles to get over. Down to Terry Hunt now, breaking off in the 6th frame. And important to get that first ball down, and he's done that.
Red ball potted.
So an open table, his choice of reds or yellows. But Terry very noticeably there, not using a break cue. So he's using his playing cue. That's always risky, Tony, because you can damage your tip with the power that you impart in that break shot.
You know, that's right, Jim. Last year when I was playing in the championships, I was practicing with a break cue and I was getting a fairly good split. But then I couldn't control the white really
30
well
seconds
because when you
remaining.
use a break, you use a very big tip,
Yellow ball's nominated.
and I had no control at all with the cue ball. So in the end, I went back to my own playing cue to break with because at least I could control the cue ball. And I think probably that's what's
Yellow ball's in play.
happened with Terry Hunt, not controlling the white. Decided to use his own cue.
Cagey shot there, bumping the red towards the other red, making life a little more difficult for Farren, if in fact he gets a chance. And in so doing, maintaining position on the open yellows. It's really down to Terry Hunt right now to seize the moment.
Needs to get this finished, Jim. Doesn't want to let Greg Farren start to pull away. Because all Greg will do is keep him sat in his seat if he gets the opportunity. That's a lovely shot from Terry Hunt. Great cue ability there. Lovely position onto the yellow. Just his one awkward ball, but he's got absolutely plumb behind it. And he'll just a little gentle screw, potting this yellow down the rail, take the yellow into the left-hand centre, black into the bottom left corner. Just needs to stop the white dead here, really, Jim. Pull it back maybe 2 inches. I think it'll be stopping this just dead like that.
Great finish from Terry Hunt. Timely and made to order. The man from Rotherham pulls one back on level pegging now. It's 3 frames apiece in this best of 17 quarterfinal. Well, as Greg Farren looks on, certainly, Tony, nothing you can do about that. A breaking out from Terry Hunt. But the position from this yellow to that awkwardly placed one on the right-hand cushion really paved the way for Terry to take that frame. Difficult hit, this one. And you can see the yellow ball just above the red. That's the one that Greg Farren's going to want to try and develop at some stage.
Well, not only if Terry Hunt hits that red, if he does hit the red, he's also knocking it away from the yellow ball. And he's tying up the yellow ball at the moment up there with that, so even if he did strike it, he's still going to leave Greg Farren with a chance of a finish. Obviously, if he doesn't hit it, it's a foul, and he's going to leave Greg with 2 visits. So Terry's in a bit of a catch-22 here, Jim. Well, he's opting for the deliberate foul.
Foul.
Very strange shot that. I didn't think there was any way that Terry could cover
Touching ball.
the cue ball with the yellow there and try and stop Greg potting the one over the bag. There's just no way he could do it from there. Very strange shot. I think Terry knows that inside himself. He's played the wrong option there. Well, I think Greg now has got himself into a position where he's going to try and double the yellow next to the red back into the right-hand centre pocket. This is a big shot.
That was the shot. Didn't come off for him, but the second visit in play. Such a nice position, though, when you know if you don't land on a yellow, you can always play a good attacking safety. Once again, try and buy yourself a better opportunity. That's the situation that confronts Farren right now.
Decision time here, Jim. Does he just play the safety, which will be knocking the yellow ball on the bottom rail off the cushion and leaving the cue ball behind the line of 3 balls there, blocking Terry's route to the red? Or does he go for the pot into the centre?
30 seconds remaining.
Well, he's opting for the pot. I thought Greg might opt for the safety. But now he's going to try and pot this into the centre and screw back for the yellow next to the black. Well, that wasn't even really a good positional shot. Should he have potted that ball?
Got a feeling that Greg Farren was caught between two minds in that. Certainly hasn't left Terry Hunt anything easy.
Not like Greg that. I'd put money on him playing the safety shot there.
That's what he's going to be looking at.
30
Try and
seconds
knock
remaining.
that red into the center pocket. Top cushion first.
Should he get this shot, he'll be perfect on the black, Jim.
Well, he got second prize anyway, Tony. He's laid on the yellow to make life a little difficult, but
We're going to see a safety now from Greg, Jim. He's going to knock the yellow that's on the bottom cushion as we're looking. He's going to knock this into the open, leave Greg in a position where he's not, leave Terry in such a position, sorry, that he's not going to be able to see his last red ball. And that's a great shot because he's also put the yellow into the top of the table to stop Terry Hunt snookering him as well.
well, Farren really in the driver's seat. This frame already been in play for over 13 minutes. Easily the longest of the match thus far.
30 seconds remaining.
There's
But
some of the French contingent there, Jim. Big fan of Greg Farren, the French.
Yes, he spends a lot of time in Europe honing his skills.
Foul. 2 visits.
Well, I'm not sure really that Terry had many options there at all. I mean, he could have tried to come out the snooker, but he's always knocking the bad yellow out. Greg now has 2 visits. Knocks the awkward yellow out, but it's still
Second
not
visit.
ever so easy. I feel you're going to see another safety from Greg Farren. He's going to try and stun the cue ball behind yellow and black. And you see Greg's not going to be rushed into playing this shot, but he's going to have to play a safety.
Yes, he wanted to get that yellow ball over the bottom left a little more than he probably did.
Well, only one option here for Terry Hunt, and that's straight up to the top rail, back down and try and shunt the red ball down the rail and try and block that pocket, or even possibly pot it. It's the only shot Terry's got. And he's just caught the angle there in the middle pocket.
Foul.
That's disaster
2 visits.
and should well be loss of frame.
I believe that will be loss of frame, Jim.
Slightly misjudged, catching the middle bump. And I think he's resigned. Still 2 visits for Greg Farren, though he might well not need the second one to complete this victory.
No, he can hold the cue ball on the red ball here for the black. This cut in the cut back into the corner. Just left it a little thinner than he would have liked, but no real problems for Greg. He fairly moved the white around the table there on that one, Jim, but
it's there. Greg Farren takes this 7th frame. He now leads Terry Hunt of England 4 frames to 3. Important for Terry now. Again, he's dropped the odd frame behind.
8th frame, Terry Hunt to break.
Be breaking off here in
4.
frame 8. And there you see the score line. We said at the outset of this, Tony, there wasn't much to live on between these two. And it's living up to those expectations.
yeah, it's always going to be a very close encounter, this one. You've got a good mixture out there. You've got the resilience and the great tactical sense and precision position of Greg Farren against the more raw and natural potting ability of Terry Hunt.
30 seconds remaining.
Well, you just saw Greg mumbling to himself there slightly. I don't know whether he feels that without a ball having been potted, he should have been left an easier chance.
Yes, there's no real clear-cut pot there for Greg. I feel he might attempt the plant with the yellows at the bottom of the table, but no. I think this is a tougher shot. And that's a superb pot. Oh, that's so unlucky. Looked like the cue ball was coming across into the side rail there.
Yeah, it's almost a look of disbelief from Greg Farren.
As you can see, he's playing a shot with right hand side, but it just didn't seem to check back, did it?
Well, he certainly couldn't have legislated for that in-off. Big opportunity this for Terry Hunt.
Well, he's also can choose the reds because being as Greg fouled on the first ball, it means the legal ball was not potted, so Terry Hunt had the choice, elected to play the reds, and he also has 2 visits. Great chance for Terry Hunt to come back now and level the match.
Now, Terry doesn't play for the England team, and I find that strange. He's such a good player, twice a beaten semi-finalist in the World Championships.
What is the structure in England, Jim? They have a big county set up, and you've got to play for the county that you live in England in order to have trials for the English national team. But Terry doesn't have time, as being one of the top professionals, doesn't have time to play county pool, which makes him not eligible to trial for England. So it's just a case of he has a lot of exhibition work and what have you.
Well, he just wants to soft screw this one. You can see the opening here between yellow and black. He just wants to leave that gap to get through to the red. Well, he's elected to play it up, and I think he might well wish he had done that differently.
I think you should have took your advice there, Jim.
Yeah, that's one he might live to regret, Tony. The red didn't pass even if he went above the yellow. I thought he could have just played the white into that opening and laid that red either over the middle or the top left.
Thirty seconds remaining.
Second visit.
Well, he's let Greg Farren back to the table. One thing you don't want to do.
How quickly this one has turned around. Just when it looked like Terry Hunt was in total command. One careless shot, and the tables have turned.
Well, I can't see there's any route really that you can come out and pot this red out of the snooker, because that's what he's got to do.
30 seconds remaining.
Well, you can see he can just get through to the right edge of the red as he looks.
Yellow balls to play.
But he has to feel like he let one slip away.
Definitely uncharacteristic of Terry there. Had the 2 visits and didn't use them very well. The balls were all open. I feel that if he'd have taken your advice and played the shot that you said, Jim, he'd have had this frame in the bag by now. But as it is, he's let Greg come back to the table. Greg, as you can see, he's just looking now to see where he wants to leave the cue ball, which is at the top of the table, so Terry can't see that red. Just playing off that thin, and that's a lovely shot. Absolutely perfect, Jim.
And this isn't an easy one to hit. Well, it looks now like the only shot he's got is a 2-cushion escape. That might be the only chance to get at that red.
Time out.
Now you see this is a tight decision for the referee to call. Terry's just asked if it's a total snooker where he can't hit any part of the red. And the referee, Marshall Morter, has gone to get the spare cue ball to see if the cue ball will pass the yellow to strike the red ball. And there you see it.
Well, so many times in snooker commentary, when it's tight like that, I will say you need the old shrinking ball shot. Well, in this particular instance, the cue balls are smaller than the colors out there, so you can legitimately say that.
30 seconds remaining.
There may be room between those 2 yellows for this smaller white.
Well, he's not called the total snooker, Jim.
Ow.
And I don't think Terry's pleased with that. I think Terry thought that was a total snooker. You can see now he's probably telling one of his supporters there in the crowd.
There's our referee, Marshall Morter. He's the one that called or didn't call the total snooker, which put Terry into a spot of bother.
Seconds remaining.
Once again, another look at it. If there was room there, there wasn't much. 2 visits to Greg Farren. Well, how did that work out? Not only did he develop both yellows, but he's fluked one, and the other one's dropped right over the right center. This is the way you'd set them up in practice.
No, I think he's played it, Jim.
Well, my co-commentator says that with a wry smile.
30 seconds remaining.
And you can play those sort of shots all day long, those back double plants into middle pockets. One of the easiest shots in pool, that, Jim.
There you can see a few marks on the cue ball. So again, Marshall Morter called into action. Or the yellow it is. Boy, that did have a couple spots on it, didn't it? Don't see him now, though. Probably just turned him around the other side.
Well, I think you'll see Greg take his time with his finish now. He'll want to leave Terry in his seat. It's the old lonely chair now for Terry. Worst place in the world. when you just sat there watching your opponent, knowing full well he's not going to miss. You know he's going to pot every ball that's on the table, and there's nothing at all that you can do about it.
It can be a very cruel game. You're absolutely helpless when you're sat in your chair. But you can't help but admire the tenacity of the reigning World Pool champion.
For me though, Jim, Greg's not firing on all cylinders, and this is the type of character that he is. It shows how strong he is, that he's building up a sort of lead on a player like Terry Hunt and not playing his best pool.
Greg Farren takes the 8th frame. A terrific performance from a tenacious competitor. He leads Terry Hunt by 5 frames to 3.
Thank you. 9th frame, Greg Farren to break, leading 5 frames to 3.
Welcome back to the New Century Hall in downtown Manchester. It's the 1997 Embassy World Pool Championships. It's the men's singles event. The defending champion Greg Farren of Ireland leads Terry Hunt of England by 5 frames to 3. And a terrific performance from Farren. He dropped the opening 2 frames and stormed back to win 5 of the next 6.
Yellow ball's in play.
Yellow ball's in play for Terry Hunt. A formidable opponent. And Tony, he's looking very good here. In the 9th frame, he hasn't been 2 frames down in this quarterfinal yet, and he sure doesn't want to fall 3 frames in arrears.
This frame's a must for Terry Hunt. Imperative that he finishes off the yellows, knocks the black in, and pulls right back into this match, Jim. There's always the big danger if you fall 3 frames, 4 frames behind against Greg Farren. There's no way back. As you know, Greg, when he's got you, he just won't let you go. And there you see him, just staring at the table. Won't look at Terry Hunt, he's just staring at the table.
Well, this looks like a fairly simple finish for Terry Hunt. Strode to the table after Farren failed to get a ball off the break. Nice angle on this last yellow to drop nicely onto the 8 ball and pull a frame back. That's the sort of performance that Terry Hunt needs. He's clawed back 5 frames to 4. He still trails Greg Farren of Ireland. It's the 1997 Embassy World Pool Championships here from New Century Hall in downtown Manchester. Last year's world champion Greg Farren just breaking off in a titanic struggle against England's Terry Hunt. The scoreline 5-5. It's a best of 17 quarterfinal encounter between these two, and there's absolutely nothing in it.
Red ball's in play.
Tony Holgate, it seems like Terry Hunt has Mr. Momentum on his side.
Yes, he's started to come back well now, Terry. Very important for him after going 5-3 down that he did get back to 5 each. Like I said a couple of times before, you just can't afford to go behind against the world champion, Greg Farren. Terry's very much a confidence player. If the balls are coming out for him and he's taking out the big finishes, you know, he builds on that. His confidence then runs high, and you see him taking on bigger and bigger shots, and they all seem to come out when he's really firing.
It seems that he likes to flow. Very aggressively minded. Likes to seize the initiative and carry it right through to the finish line. He's such a good potter. Effortless.
He's got very nice stances, Terry. The way he cues down at the balls, very solid stance, pretty much textbook. Being a snooker player yourself, Jim, you know all about textbook stances.
Well, cue delivery is everything when you're under pressure.
There you see, that's the perfect stance for this game of pool. That's
Great
a perfect shot. Yeah.
That certainly opened up this one now. Both reds nicely spaced. Another look at this shot. Happy to see that one disappear. He's a little short of ideal position there.
Just seems to be the last couple of balls for Terry. Quite a few of the frames. Like you say, he's just landed short on that last red, and now he's going to have to come round the table with the cue ball. So you're going to have to go right to the top of the table. I think he's thinking about digging really deep and screwing the cue ball straight into the top rail and coming down with a load of side.
30 seconds remaining.
He's going very deep with this one. Straight up to the top cushion. He just caught the yellow there, but this might not have turned out too badly. A little close to the black, though.
Well, a lot close to the black as far as Terry Hunt is concerned. This is not potable. The only saving grace, though, I'm sure, Tony, is the fact that all Greg Farren's yellows are very awkwardly positioned. Here we go, side cushion. Ideally, he would like that to have sat over the corner pocket.
Yellow balls to play.
You know, he's left Greg plenty of options here. He's got easy safeties all available, and he's got easy pots. But I think you'll see Greg opt for a safety. He'd rather be taking these yellows out with 2 shots rather than just the 1 visit.
Thirty seconds remaining.
Both Farren and Terry Hunt playing for the right to oppose either Lee Kendall or Bill Hoven in the semifinals.
Well, we're seeing Greg going for the balls. There's going to be no safeties. He's decided to go straight for the jugular.
Good shot, that one from Farren. Nicely onto the yellow to the bottom left. And also dislodging one of the other yellows. Still a long way to go in this one. A lot of good pots required from our 1996 world champion.
Still not firing on all cylinders though, Greg. Just made a couple of blues out there.
30 seconds remaining.
Very different routes to this quarterfinal clash from these two players. Farren was in desperate trouble when he trailed Carl Morris of England by 7 frames to 3. He had to win the last 5 to ease into an 8-7 victory, but Terry Hunt, by contrast, got there much easier. Defeating Aaron Mahoney 8 frames to 3. Aaron Mahoney, of course, the young Australian player with a very bright future.
Well, he's just left himself a perfect angle now, just to run this yellow down the rail into the bottom right hand corner. He's got a perfect angle to get onto the black.
This is the pressure ball. Never in doubt. Great clearance this from Greg Farren. He dropped the preceding 2 frames, and what a timely visit this proved to be. Greg Farren, last year's world champion, secures the victory in that frame. He pulls in front by just the odd frame, 6-5 over England's Terry Hunt.
Very tricky here, Jim.
30 seconds remaining.
Difficult to see him going for a finish here, Tony.
Well, I think he's forced to go, really. I mean, they're not easy to cover these pockets. I mean, if you do leave a little gap, you know, he'd rather throw caution to the wind, and at least he's had a dip at them and give himself a chance to win the frame, rather than attempt to cover, leave it open for Terry.
Well, they're just working it out. Myself, I can't see where he can get that cue ball back below the red to be able to attack it to one of the pockets I mentioned earlier. Was always going to be tough.
Yeah, he's relying on a little bit of luck there, Greg, really. That shot was always going to be in the lap of the gods, Jim.
Mind you, this was played with a lot of screw. It could have been so much better. Now Greg Farren virtually forced into taking on this low percentage double.
This double's got to be played. If he's going to double it into the middle, he's got to play this with loads and loads of right-hand side and screw to square the angle
30
off.
seconds remaining.
And also get the cue ball out of the way, avoid the double kiss.
Correct. Just checked it a little too much, Jim.
So as we've seen in so many of these frames, just when the winning post looked to be in sight, that's when the stumbling occurs. And now it's advantage Terry Hunt.
Total snooker.
The 7-5 scoreline right now that favors Greg Farren may not be a true indication of how the play has gone. Terry Hunt could so easily be a couple frames in front here, if not for a couple mental lapses.
Seconds remaining.
When Greg Farren won this title a year ago, It's secured him an awful lot of exhibition work. He's been a busy man campaigning around the country. And you know, he'd like to be able to do that for a second consecutive year. But no player has yet defended this title when they've come back. Farren bidding to be the only player to do that.
Total snooker.
No defending champions ever been to the final on their return, Jim. Just goes to show what a loosely held trophy this is.
$30 remaining.
Well, Greg's one of 3 previous winners that are all through to the quarterfinals. Daz Ward, Rob McKenna from Wales, all looking to be 2-time winners, as is Farren. The man looking to stop Greg Farren's progress is at the table right now, Terry Hunt of England. And the way he's dropped the last 2 frames, absolutely vital that he takes advantage of this. And yet again, it's been positional play. That's been the thorn in his side.
Well, the only saving grace for Terry there is, if this is a total snooker, all he's going to have to do is just come off the bottom rail and roll up behind his yellow. Because as you know, you don't have to strike a rail after contact in a total snooker situation.
He's got to be very careful not to leave a gap.
He shouldn't have been in that position, Jim. That was just a plain and simple, run-of-the-mill, meat and drink finish. And he missed it. It's just been slack position from Terry all the way through the match, really. But then again, he's not firing all cylinders, like I said before. He's not been taking his chances that well. It's been a rather scrappy affair, really, Jim.
What Greg needed there is to get that red ball near a corner pocket. So really, Terry Hunt under no pressure. He's got this yellow, which he should get. But even if he were to miss it, he knows he's not going to be leaving Greg Farren the red on. And now surely Terry Hunt is going to take the frame here. The Englishman does it. He's pulled one back. It's 7-6 to Greg Farren in this race to 9, and it's really starting to heat up here in Manchester. So it's Terry Hunt breaking off here in the 14th frame. Just one in it. It's certainly starting to get to crunch time. This is where we separate the men from the boys. It's all about composure and concentration now.
Well, I think Greg's going to try and take the reds here. Both sets of colours are finishable from that situation, but I think the reds
30 seconds remaining.
do look just slightly better than the yellows.
Red ball's in play.
Now Greg knows if he can get this finish, he's within 1 frame of the semi-finals. And that will really put the pressure on Terry Hunt, because then he's just no more mistakes, Jim. Can't afford them.
Well, we're getting down to the business end of this first quarterfinal.
This is what Greg's all about, though, Jim. I mean, the amount of times I've seen him play matches where he's not really played exceptionally well, but he always manages to get over the winning line.
Well, that's what championship caliber is all about.
Is
It's not how good you can play when you know you're buzzing. It's whether you can live to fight on when you know you're struggling. That's what Steve Davis always used to say.
Yellow balls to play.
The measure of the man was how good his bad play was.
That's
And
exactly
certainly
right,
Greg
Jim.
Farren exemplifies that. Terry Hunt opened this match, winning the first 2 frames, and looked very much on song. But we've seen a number of hiccups from him, certainly in the positional end.
I think we're going to see Terry take on a very big shot here. The yellow nearest to the cue ball, I think he's going to attempt it into the top left-hand corner and try and kick the other yellow across the table. This will be some shot.
30 seconds remaining.
Ah, it's unlucky, Jim. I thought that was there then. I did think it was in. I think Terry did as well. But the balls are very unforgiving.
That's really been the story of Terry Hunt's campaign in this quarterfinal so far. What could have been.
Just look at the reds now, Jim. All the yellows have been moved away from Greg's reds. He knows this is a fantastic chance to get within 1 frame of the semi-finals of the World Championships and a step nearer to retaining his crown. Once again, it's another loose shot, Jim. Wanted to be right in the middle of the table there so he could take the red into the centre pocket. As you can see there, he's ended up nearly touching it. He should still go out here though, Jim.
Well, the way that Greg Farren's playing right now, he might want to walk around with a step ladder in his back pocket. Always bridging over either opponent's balls or his own. Good recovery shot, and now a good positional shot onto the last red. And there should be no more hurdles. As you said, Tony, to see him but 1 frame away from a berth in the semifinals. And these are anxious moments for Terry Hunt.
Well, I know Greg Farren's just desperate to be the first man to ever retain his title. And if he's going to do so, he's going to have to pot a very tricky black into this top right-hand corner. All the way through this finish though, Jim, have you noticed he's never really been in good position? Last year, these finishes, he was perfect on every ball.
Well, that's one of Greg Farren's strong suits, controlling that white. Here we go. This black.
30 seconds remaining.
Tremendous putt from Greg Farren. For me, the best shot of the match given the circumstances. Absolute brilliance from the former world champion defending his title here. He's 8-6 in front of Terry Hunt and 1 frame away from the semifinals. But again, this black from Greg Farren, tremendous shot given the circumstances. Greg Farren breaking off here in the 15th frame in what he hopes will be the last one played. He needs just 1 more frame to seal a 9-6 victory and earn himself a berth in the semifinals. It's been a dour struggle, a seesaw battle. Just when it looked like either player might take control, it just hasn't materialized.
30 seconds remaining.
A couple of future stars.
Red ball's in play.
So it's pretty clear-cut and straightforward for Terry Hunt now, Tony. His back is against the wall. No more room for error.
That's right, Jim. Needs every frame now. But, I mean, the thing that's going to be implanted in his mind, Jim, is all these frames previously that he's had loads of chances to win. And it's just one sort of bad shot towards the end, a bad positional shot or a bad miss. It's cost him the frame. And there's been Greg Farren just to wipe up the leftovers at the end of it.
In patches, Terry Hunt has been nothing short of brilliant. We've seen a couple breaks and finishes from him, but he just hasn't been able to maintain that consistent level of scoring. Uncharacteristic misses and certainly bad positional play has crept in, and at the most inopportune times as far as he's concerned.
As I said before, Terry's just going for everything now. Decided to let the handbrake off. And he's trying to lunge back at Greg. Greg won't be panicking now. I think he'll feel that before sooner or later Terry's going to make a mistake.
But he's left himself a nice angle on this red. He's had a good look at the other one to see if it will pass to the bottom right, but he's got the nice angle to be able to get right in behind it. There's the bottom right pocket. Certainly looks like that red will be available if he elects to play it to that pocket.
But where's the black going, Jim? He's looking at playing it now because he knows that if he leaves that to his last ball, there's no way he can get onto the black.
30 seconds remaining.
So this is a very, very low percentage shot. He's got to be very careful because the yellow's close to the red. He's got to be very careful he doesn't catch the yellow first and give away 2 shots. If he does give away 2 shots, that's good night, Vienna.
Well, still, as you said, Tony, even a good pot on the red is going to take a better positional shot to get onto the black where it's going to be available. Doesn't pass to either bottom left or bottom right as we look.
That's a huge shot, Jim. That's a huge shot under the pressure.
Can that one turn the match around? Well, that's the sort of shot that Terry Hunt required. This awkward black to pull back to 8-7.
I don't believe what I've just seen, Jim. It's happened again. I cannot believe he didn't even have the strength to get to the pocket with the black. And not only that, he's gone in off.
He must be absolutely gutted. He was watching the cue ball. He wasn't even watching the black.
Well, I'm afraid that's the end of Terry Hunt's World Championships for another year. There's no way Greg Farren's going to miss these now. He knows he's in sight of the winning post.
And just to tighten the grip on this one, he's nudged that black ball away from the middle pocket to alleviate some of the pressure should an unexpected error creep in. He's got 2 visits, remember, and I can't see him failing on his mission to get through to the semis.
But just how many chances has Terry Hunt had to win some of these frames, Jim? I mean, I can't believe it. And I mean, look, the guy's just got to be absolutely devastated.
Story of missed opportunities. But
Well,
Greg Farren certainly looking to get through, because he understands, as do we, Tony. It never says how, just who. Farren completely focused now. He just wants to leave himself an angle on the last yellow to be able to get down towards the black. And bearing in mind he's still got that second visit in hand.
We're just going to roll this down the rail now, Jim. You just check with the referee to see if he still had his 2 visits. And Greg's on his way to the semis.
The simple 8 ball for a victory. And the defending world champion, Greg Farren, is still on course to be the first 2-time winner of the Embassy Whirlpool Championships. He's through to the semifinals by virtue of a 9-6 win over Terry Hunt, and he will oppose either Bill Hoven or Lee Kendall in that semifinal.
It's all right.
Sneak up on me like that?
Not at all. Quick word with you. Besides the opening 2 frames, pretty much in a controlling position, but would you say that your form was as you'd like it?
No, not really. I don't think Terry performed to what we all know he's capable of, and I didn't as well, I don't think, if I'm being honest. But at the end of the day, you know, it's a quarter-final of the World Championships. You get a little bit nervous, and I was just glad to win, to be honest. 9-6, semi-final, so that's all. Just look forward to that.
No one's ever retained the title. Do you think you can do it?
You've gone and said it now, haven't you? I didn't know that. No, it'd be nice if I could win it, but there's another 2 ex-world champions still in, so it's all going to be down to the nitty-gritty, I think.
All right, best of luck, Greg. Lee Kendall and Bill Hoven in the next quarter-finals. We'll take a short break here on Sky Sports. Stay with us.